Hello friends, welcome to CSES group. We will be looking for 2014 signal system questions from the UPSC CSE Mains Electrical Engineering. 2014 question number 1C was find out the inverse Z transform of this given question. Before that, let me discuss about how many marks of questions are asked or were asked from signal system in this 2014. Almost 50 marks questions were asked from signal system portion. Okay, so this is also having a good weightage equal to the circuit theory and digital systems. Now let us start with this question. The region of convergence is given as mod z is greater than 1, and you are having a transfer function or a system function whose value is given in here, and you need to find out the inverse Z transform. So the standard way of finding out the Z transform is, or the inverse Z transform rather, be specific. You have to take common Z from here, okay, Z square, find out the highest power in the numerator, in the denominator, you take that common. So if you do so, you will find that Z square will come into the numerator and the denominator term will look like this. Now the region of convergence is already given to you, so you need not to worry about that. And to proceed further, we need to go for the partial fraction. So what you will do for partial fraction, you will take this one of the Z in the denominator of the left hand side. Okay, so xz divided by z I am writing. So the term which will be there in the right hand side will be only this, without having z square in the right hand side. Okay, so only z in the right hand side of the numerator. And then go for the partial fraction. So a upon z minus 1 will come. Similarly, b upon z minus 0.5 will come as the second term. And now substituting the value of z as 0.5 and 1, you can identify the value of b, which comes out to be minus 1, and value of a, which comes as 2. Now substitute the values in this equation. Okay, here your a and b values you got, so that's what I am writing. A is 2 and b is minus 1. Now once you are having this, you take this z again to the right hand side. Okay, so this z will go there in the multiplication and xz will look like this. So 2 into z divided by z minus 1 and z divided by z minus 0.5 will come. Now take this z common from numerator and denominator, and you will find this will look like 1 upon 1 minus z inverse, and this term will look like 1 upon 1 minus 0.5 z inverse. Okay, so this is the standard formula in the Z transform. From here you can directly write, in this case the coefficient of Z inverse is 1, hence you can directly write it is u of n, a step function. In this case the coefficient of Z inverse is 0.5, hence you need to multiply with that. So I am writing here 0.5 to the power n u of n. So that is what the solution for this. Next question of 2014 is question number 2C. Determine whether the following system is linear, time invariant, stable or dynamic. So let us start with the first part, linear. Please understand, as I have told you earlier also, whenever such kind of questions are there, please read the question twice at least, such that you will not miss any important point from the question. So you have to look into or comment for 3 different portions. Okay, so first is linear, whether the system is linear or not, then you have to go for time invariant or not, and then stable or dynamic system. So let us start with the linear. So I am writing here the equation is yn is 5 into x of 2n. Let us assume that y of n is 5 into x1 of 2n and y2 of n is 5 into x2 of 2n, where x1 and x2 are the arbitrary inputs. Okay, so linearity basically by superposition and homogeneity you will identify, and that's what we are doing here, for which the outputs are y of n, y1 of n, and y2 of n. Okay, and then x3 I am considering the another input, so x3 2n can be written as alpha x1 2n plus beta x2 2n. Now what you are expecting, that y3 will yield such kind of signal. Okay, and if this is happening, then it is a linear system. It's a very simple, I think everyone would have studied in their first semester or in the 12th standard. I'm just writing here such that you can revise your basic concepts, and you will find that y3 is a linear system. Okay, so y3 is coming as alpha y1 plus beta y2. Please understand, when you are looking for the linear, basically you are looking for such kind of things. So if small change in the x-axis will yield a similar change or the corresponding change in the y. Similarly, if there is a change here, then you're having a similar change here. So basically you are looking for a straight line which will pass through the origin. Okay, that's what the basic concept of the linearity comes from, and that's what you are providing or proving using such kind of functions. Now the second portion is time invariant or not. So time invariant will provide a delay to the input, and let us see a similar delay, corresponding delay is observed in the output or not. If it is observed, then it is invariant. If it is not observed, then it is time variant. That means if time changes, the output also changes without having any dependency on that one. Okay, or if they are linearly related, then obviously it is a time invariant. Let us see from here. It is n minus k, I am delaying it, and the corresponding delay can be identified in the output as y of n minus k is 5 into x of 2 n minus k. Okay, one bracket will close here. Hence the system is time invariant. I think here also no too much, it's again for the reference. And for BIBO stability, now this is very important, BIBO stability, which will be using the formula which is available in the second slide. So I'll write here for your reference. It is summation k is equals to infinity, sorry, k is equals to 0 to infinity h of k, and it has to be less than infinite. Okay, if that means if the signal converges, then you are saying, or basically the impulse response converges, then you are saying that the system is stable. Okay, so stable input must give, or a bounded input must give the bounded output. So that's what you are looking for, and that is what the BIBO stability criteria is. So what we will do, we will replace this xn by delta n. Okay, so I'm writing xn is delta n, and the delta n I am considering in a way like, if n is equals to 0, h0, that is the output term, is 5 into delta 0, so delta 0 is 1, hence it comes as 5, and when n is equals to 1, delta 1 is, since delta 1 is 0, that 0 into 5 leads to 0, because it's a delta function. Please remember, delta function is like this, is 1, and delta elsewhere is 0. Okay, so that's what we are doing. Okay, so h of n is 5 for n is equals to 0, and h of n is 0 for n less than 0. Now substitute this h of n in this formula. So if you expand it, you will find, you will write in a way like h of 0 and then plus h of 1 plus h of 2 and so on. So what will happen, rest all the values, h of 1, h of 2, h of 3 up to infinity, everything will lead to 0, and you have h of 0 is equals to 5. Okay, so this summation will yield a finite value, which in this case comes out to be 5, and obviously that is less than infinity. So let us see what I am doing in the next portion. I am writing this BIBO stability equation for you and expanding it and substituting the value of various h values. Okay, so obviously rest of these h values are 0, and in this case h of 0 is 5, which is obviously less than infinity, hence the system is BIBO stable. So the system is linear, time invariant, and stable also. Now next question is, find the Laplace transform and ROC of this equation. So ROC is region of convergence. Such kind of questions are available in the Schwamm series by So we will write with the Laplace transform equation. So xs is minus infinity to infinity e power minus 3t, that is the question, into ut, and again the second part of the question, that is e power minus 2t ut, and this is the Laplace transforms basis function, that is e power minus st dt. Okay, so what will happen, this e power st obviously will go inside the bracket and will get multiplied with these two exponential, and you will find that e power minus 3t e power minus st will lead to e power minus s plus 3 ut dt. Okay, so that's what it's the usual way of solving these exponential terms. And then if you solve it further, you will find x of s is 1 upon s plus 3 and 1 upon s plus 2. So this is what the first part of this question, and then the second part is determine the ROC, the region of convergence. Now please understand, whenever you are looking for region of convergence, just go with the word meaning or dictionary meaning of what they are writing for such kind of terms, because most of the people are having confusion with how to identify region of convergence in such cases. Okay, so this is the region where which the function will converge. Okay, converge means it will lead to some finite value. That's what you are looking for. If it leads to infinite value, then it is not converging. Okay, or you can just think of when two lines are converging at point, that means they are meeting. Okay, so they are meeting at somewhere at this at finite value, then you are saying that it is converge or converging. And if you don't have any information about their such meeting points, such as in case of root locus, you are considering that they are converging somewhere at the infinity. Okay, so these kind of things which are very important are used in the control system. So you need to understand that these phrases are used and can be understood basically by understanding their word meanings. Okay, so let us go with standard formulation that region of convergence for this case is greater than minus 3. Now how it is greater than minus 3, let us do some calculation here. Let us take this term separately, consider this term separately, and let me remove the other annotations. So I'll remove this. What is the convergence? What convergence means here, let us see. If you take only this term and assume that s is equals to what it is writing, real part of s must be greater than minus 3. Assume that s is minus 2. Okay, obviously minus 2 is greater than minus 3. So if you substitute it here, what will happen? This exponential will turn to e power minus 1t. Okay, this will turn to e power minus 1t dt. E power minus 1t dt. Okay, so if you plot this e power minus 1, so it is the exponential dk. Okay, so it will look something like this, and obviously the area under the curve is a finite value in this case. Okay, that's what integration is, area under the curve. So e power minus t will look something like this, and obviously the area under the curve is finite value, hence this is a converging term. That means for e power minus 3t ut, when real part of s is greater than minus 3, then the system is converging, hence that is the region of convergence. That means if you look into this, if this is minus 3 point, then entire this portion is the region of convergence for this. Now let us consider that s is equals to minus 4. Okay, you are violating the condition. Okay, so s is equals to minus 4, what will happen? Integral will change to minus 4 plus 3, that is minus 1, and this minus sign will go inside, so it will lead to e power t. Now e power t is the rising function. Okay, so e power t will look something like this. So e power t will look something like this, and what will happen because of that? If you look into the region of convergence here, the area under the curve is not a finite value, it is infinite value. Okay, so area under the curve in this case is infinite when you are looking for e power t dt, and hence the region of convergence cannot be in the left of minus 3 portion. Okay, that is, if you look into this portion which I have drawn here, and if you look into this portion, okay, minus 3, left hand side of the minus 3, it cannot be the region of convergence. Similarly for e power minus 2, right side of the minus 2 is the region of convergence. Now I have plotted it here for your reference. if you are considering a value which is between -2 and -3, let us say -1, then obviously you are violating the condition for e power -2. E power -2t, the condition will be violated. So obviously you need to go for the higher side, and hence the region of convergence for this complete system is the right side of -2 plane. Okay, so that's what the region of convergence. I hope you got the point. Please, I'll just repeat. Region of convergence means where the system or the function will converge. Okay, so take this term and substitute the values and identify for which values of s it will lead to a finite value. Obviously when e power will go to the positive, let us say e power t dt, you cannot identify a finite area under the curve in this case. But if you are having something like e power -3t or -4t, let us say, then obviously this is a converging term because area under the curve is a finite value in this case. So that's what the region of convergence in this question. The fourth C is determine whether the following signal is periodic or periodic. Find the fundamental period if it is periodic. Okay. So let us see the question. This is x of n is sine, I think this is not visible, so I'll write it here. This is sine 3 pi by 7 into n plus pi by 4 plus cos pi by 3 into n. So this is a function which is having two terms. Let us call this sinusoidal term as x of n, x1 of n, and the cosinusoidal as x2 of n. Now start with x1 of n. Let us see whether it is a periodic function or not. The standard form I am writing here, it is omega 1 n plus phi, omega n is 3 pi by 7. Now since these are the rational number, hence it is a periodic signal. Since this is a rational number, which one? This omega divided by 2 pi is a rational number here, hence it is a periodic signal whose fundamental period n1 is 14 by 3. Okay, it's very simple. From here you can easily identify it. It is 14 by 3. Let us take the x2n cos pi by 3n. So standard form, which is similar to this standard form. Okay, these two standard forms are same. There you are having sinusoidal, here you are having cosinusoidal. The phase term is not there in the question itself for the second term, hence I am not writing the phase value there. So omega 2 can be easily identified again with substituting the or equating the value. So omega 2 by 2 pi will comes out to be 1 upon 6. Again it is a rational number. Okay, so x2 is also periodic with the fundamental period n2 is equals to 6. And you need to understand summation of two periodic signal leads to another periodic signal, and the fundamental period in that case is the least common multiple of the individual periods. Okay, please read this statement. The sum of two periodic signal is also a periodic signal, and the fundamental period is the least common multiple of the individual periods. So what are the periods, fundamental periods for these two signal? For the first one it is 14 by 3. For the second one it is 6. Okay, so least common multiple, if you take the LCM of these two, you will find this comes out to be 42. Okay, so 42 is the fundamental period of the signal which will be generated after adding these two signals. I have verified this using the MATLAB for your reference. So this is the first term, that is sine 3 pi by 7x or n into pi by 4. So you can very well see that the fundamental period in this case comes out to be this portion. I am taking this point and this point. Okay, it's a complete wave or complete cycle. Okay, so you can very well do this calculation. Take the x-axis value, so it is 9.7 minus 5.1. So 9.7 and 5.1 comes out to be 4.66. Okay, if you take the exact value 9.753 and 5.122, this comes out to be 4.667. okay, which is basically 14 by 3. Okay, that's what I have told you, that the fundamental period for the first signal is 4 by 3, and the second signal is the cosinusoidal signal, which is pi n by 3. So in this case I'm writing pi x by 3, and the fundamental period for that was identified as 6. You can very well see this. X value is 6 here for this case, and for this point x value is 12. Okay, so 12 minus 6 leads to 6. Okay, that's what the fundamental period of this signal. And after adding these two, the combined signal will look like this. So you can very well see that the fundamental period in this case comes out to be, this is the point of the reference which I am considering, and here again it is repeating. And if you subtract this 84 minus 84.29 minus 42.29, this comes out to be 42. Okay, this is very simple calculation. 84 minus 42 will lead to 42, and that is what the fundamental period in this case. So likewise, you can very well always verify your answers using MATLAB. Such kind of simulation tools I have given here for your reference. Hope this will help you in understanding how the things are changing or the fundamental periods are changing when you are adding two sinusoidal or periodic signals with each other. Thank you guys, that's it for 2014. Hope you are getting benefit out of it. Please like if you are really liking the video. Comment if you are having any issues with the questions, or if you are having any even doubt also, please comment in the comment box. Share the video such that other people also will come to know that such kind of channel is there and they can get benefit out of it. And subscribe the channel such that I'll get motivation from you that okay, this is going to the worth hand, and also you will not miss any future updates. Thank you guys. Thank you. Jai Hind.